All right, guys. So, guys, man, I think possibly this may have been like the best weekend of football that I've actually witnessed in quite some time. All right, look, screw the introduction. You guys already know where you're at right now. All right, man, man, oh man, I still can't get over the fact that we had divisional Sunday this past weekend. I'm sorry, divisional weekend. This Saturday and Sunday that just passed, and the games were so much better than that super wild card weekend that they said it was going to be great, and it wasn't because everything was like a blowout. The only good game of super wild card weekend was Bengals and Raiders, all right, and then you had 49ers and Cowboys. Outside of that, Eagles and Buccaneers last week, trash. It was. I mean, we knew that Brady was going to win, all right. What other game that we ended up having that just really didn't fit up our appetite? Buffalo Bills and Patriots, trash, because Buffalo ended up blowing them out by like 45 points or something like that. And then Rams and we had Cardinals, trash also. I mean, come on. But guys, what a weekend we ended up having because of the fact that every game, it was pretty much down to the wire, which is something that we all love. We all want to be at the edge of our couches, edge of our seat, wanting to be able to enjoy football on a Saturday and Sunday in a very cold January if you're living on the East Coast. And we got that with the first game, all right? Remember how I told you guys last week that I was very undecisive, but then I felt like I was going to go with the Bengals, all right? Well, the Bengals, they got it done, just as I predicted, all right? I didn't predict that Burrow was going to get sacked 9 times. He is the first quarterback, I believe, in the football modern era that has ended up winning the game, even though he ended up recording 9 sacks. 9 sacks, all right? And if you're Tennessee, you're punching the air, you're kicking something, you're breaking something inside the locker room because you guys played an excellent football game from the defensive side of the football, all right? You had Derrick Henry making his return back after his plantar fasciitis injury, all right? You have Deontay Foreman, who was running nice, all right? I think he had like 6 to 9 carries, over 60 yards. I mean, he was running the football pretty well. A.J. Brown catches a touchdown, all right? Julio Jones was finally getting, featured a little bit into the offense, which is something that I've been begging Tennessee to do. But the reason why I picked the Bengals over Tennessee, all right, and I said it here first, I just can't trust Ryan Tannehill. He's not that guy. He's really not that guy, all right? Like the late, great Dennis Green had said in a post interview, he's like, they are who they thought they were, all right? And you know what? Ryan Tannehill is what we thought he is, all right? And he's just a top 20-ish type of quarterback who just simply can't get it done. He was being disguised in a very, flawed, I wouldn't say flaw-free because the man had like 14, 15 interceptions, but he was disguised because of that running game. That running game was so powerful. You led by Derrick Henry, who was just pushing folks out the way. His offensive lineman is pretty great. They're dominating the line of scrimmage and stuff like that. The man barely got touched when it comes to getting sacked. I think he got sacked only once. And compared to Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow was on constant under the rest as opposed to Ryan Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill, honestly, in my opinion, like he's one of those guys that you want to bring in so you can have a quarterback competition, but that's not the quarterback you're gonna need in order to get to the next step. I know he ended up bringing you guys 2 years ago to the AFC Championship game, but you know what? Even though they had a lead, like he still couldn't hold on. AJ Brown, had mentioned early within that week saying that Ryan Tannehill is a top 10 quarterback. He's not. He's really not. I mean, he's not somebody that I would want on my team. But the Bengals did answer. They answered the bell. They did everything they were supposed to. Evan McPherson hitting multiple rainbow shot field goals in order to win the game and send them into overtime. Send them into the AFC Championship game. It was great. It was really great. But you know what? Like I said before, Ryan Tannehill, he's gonna make a lot of bonehead decisions. He ended up throwing an interception late in the fourth quarter, costing his team the game. Tennessee had everything, going for them, but you can't you can't get past bad quarterback play, and we had some bad quarterback play played by Ryan Tannehill. And even though Joe Burrow was under the rest and he was trying to find a way, not being able to get hit as often as he was, he still was able to guide the Bengals into the AFC Championship game, which hasn't been done in an extremely long period of time. Marvin Lewis couldn't get it done when he was paired up with Carson Palmer. And Joe Burrow is making the standard that, here in Cincinnati, we're gonna win. We're gonna make the standard of making it to the playoffs and winning playoff games, just because we can't get too comfortable here. And that's something that I like. Now going into the AFC Championship game, it's a tall task ahead of you, because you know what? I'll get to the AFC side, where if Bills and Chiefs, who ended up winning that matchup, because the second game of the Saturday night, the divisional rounds, the divisional round, the weekend, was the 49ers versus Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Now, guys, to me, this took a huge hit in Aaron Rodgers' career of how we should perceive him, because of the fact that the man hasn't been able to get stuff done in the playoffs, all right? San Francisco has had his number numerous times in the playoffs. He is 0-4 against San Francisco in the playoffs, and it was really starting to show in that game where, his team only scored 10 points, and I would never really bank on somebody just, calling it a quits in the middle of a game. But Aaron Rodgers, just body language wise, it looks like he didn't want to be there. He looked like he was just done playing football. It looked like he was done playing for the Green Bay Packers, which is all fair and well. He's done a lot. He's done a lot, throughout his 18-year career. I don't know. I mean, this is a huge legacy stain on his legacy in my eyes, just because, look, the Packers have had a very good, pass off from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Two short Hall of Famers. Well, Brett Favre is already in there. Aaron Rodgers, that he's going to end up getting in there. The part that sucks, if you're a Packer fan, is just that Rodgers hasn't been able to get it done. He's only gone to one Super Bowl, and then since then he is 7-9 in playoff record. That's horrible right there. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not nowhere near close of that type of a caliber on playoffs. I mean, the man should have at least been in the Super Bowl at least twice, and he couldn't get that done. This will take a huge effect, a huge stain on Rodgers' legacy. I personally think that we won't stop talking about this type of performance on Aaron Rodgers, because he needed to get it done. He needed to win the title, because, if he won the title, he can now put himself back into that conversation of him being, an all-time great, like a pantheon, a guy that you want to put in your Mount Rushmore. But unfortunately, that's not the case. What's happened next with Aaron Rodgers? I think he maybe have played his last game in Green Bay. I don't think he plays for that franchise anymore. What's going on with the 49ers? Well, the 49ers just simply have Aaron Rodgers' number. They're a bad matchup for a lot of teams, and you know what? The 49ers are just way too dangerous. I think possibly they might make the Super Bowl, and I don't think that's crazy. Just because, with Deebo Samuel, running from the backfield, and him also running as a wide receiver, you have Elijah Mitchell in your backfield, Jimmy Garoppolo. He is no A-level talent, but at the same token, he can really at least minimize mistakes for you as best as possible. So 49ers advance. They're 4-0 against Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. They're going to the championship game, because that Sunday game, I believe it was like a 3:00 game. It was Rams and Buccaneers. Stafford trying to go for his second win after him accomplishing a huge milestone and getting his first playoff win. Guys, the Rams were looking good. I believe at halftime I had put out a tweet saying The Rams are in positions on possibly being 24 or 27-3. And typical Brady fashion, I mean, Brady thrives under these situations. He was able to bring his team back to a tie game. All right. Problem is, it just simply wasn't enough. I think the deficit of the Rams being up by such a large margin, the Rams are just choking it up. They were choking it up, and honestly, I thought they were gonna be, remodeling how the 2017 Falcons were behaving in that Super Bowl, where they weren't, prioritizing that football. And Kyle Shanahan was a part of that team. I mean, he was one of those guys. But Matthew Stafford had hit the biggest, most important throw of his NFL career, because Todd Bowles decided to go on an all-out zero blitz with no safeties in the background to at least cover. And you see Matthew Stafford ends up throwing a rainbow of a shot to Cooper Kupp, and Cooper Kupp, catches it within stride. And, man, it sets it up for Gay, the kicker. He kicks a field goal. Rams are going to the NFC Championship game facing the San Francisco 49ers. Now, guys, San Francisco has owned the LA Rams. It'll be very interesting to see what Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan are going to be able to do in the championship game, because Stafford has played phenomenally well in these two playoff games. My whole question is that San Francisco defense going to be able to shut down the LA Rams? But guys, moving on to the last game of the divisional round, right? We had the Bills versus the Patriots. This is the game that I had circled on. All right, Bills ended up going to Arrowhead, I believe, or was it Buffalo? One or the other, and they ended up getting a victory in the regular season. So, Bills have an idea on how, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes are going to be able to operate. And it was a nip and tuck game pretty much the entirety of the way. All right. Those last 2 minutes, guys. Those last 2 minutes were phenomenal. I believe a total of 25 points were scored in those last 2 minutes. Those last 2 minutes extended out for like at least a good half hour. It was phenomenal to see Josh Allen running the football, all right? Patrick Mahomes running the football, him running like a wizard, all right? Avoiding sacks, avoiding tackles, all right? Josh Allen just bulldozing you, all right? Hurdling over people at some point into the game. He was just, the main reason, the main outlet that the Buffalo Bills were in that type of position, because Josh Allen was, connecting key with Gabriel Davis, who ended up having, I believe, 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns and 200 yards. That is phenomenal type of stuff, guys. That is phenomenal type of stuff, and it still wasn't enough to stop Patrick Mahomes, because you know what ended up happening? Because it was, I believe, at the 15-yard line. You have the Kansas City Chiefs defensive lineman trying to chase after Josh Allen. Josh Allen, peels out. He stops on a dime. He ends up throwing a pass to Gabriel Davis, catching the touchdown, going for the 2-point conversion to at least, enforce the field goal. What ends up happening? Josh Allen just does his magic. Does a bootleg and finds Stephon Diggs in the back of the end zone. 2-point conversion is in. Both feet were inbound. And it's 29-26. All right. At that point, you're like, all right, you got 13 seconds left. Right? You have to try to hold Patrick Mahomes from going to the other side of the field and not scoring. All right, 13 seconds. He still has his timeouts. Man, oh man, guys. Patrick Mahomes sees Tyreek Hill, bam, catches him. All right, he sees Travis Kelce, throws a dime on him. All right, gets another 20 yards, gets it for the kicker, kicks it through 29-29. We're going to overtime. All right. You have, Patrick Mahomes gets the coin toss. He gets receipt. He calls heads, whatever. They get the ball. And then immediately just starts pin. Was able to get his team into positioning. Throws the pass to Travis Kelce on the far right corner. The far left corner of the end zone. Kelce has both feet in bounds. That's it. Game over. Chiefs are moving on to the AFC Championship game. They'll be hosting the championship game against the Cincinnati Bengals. So that should be a great one right there. It was very unfortunate. A lot of people were complaining about the overtime rules, all right, about how the Bills shouldn't have been able to, get the ball back. My whole thing is that you had 60 minutes to play football, right? Especially the fact that you had 13 seconds to stop Patrick Mahomes from, getting outside of the pocket, and then him hitting his favorite target, Travis Kelce, him hitting his favorite target, Tyreek Hill, the cheetah. Man, oh man. Bills had the number one defense, and it still wasn't able to get anything done because Patrick Mahomes is just better. He played really good. Josh Allen played phenomenal. He did everything he can to at least get his team into positioning. But when a reporter had asked him, how do you feel about the overtime rules, he was like, if we would have ended up getting the coin toss and we scored, we would have celebrated too. So I love that response. I feel like, there's no reason to change the overtime rules. But getting back into the winner of Chiefs and Bills ended up winning. Not Bills ended up winning. Chiefs ended up winning. It was one of the more phenomenal games I've ever seen in my life. Back and forth, nip and tuck. The last 2 minutes were phenomenal, guys. Were phenomenal. Now going into the AFC Championship game, San Francisco versus LA, Cincinnati versus Kansas City. Guys, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. I think we're going to end up having a possible rematch of the Super Bowl from 2 years ago. I think we're going to have San Francisco versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think just San Francisco has so much of a number on the LA Rams, that they play very, sound fundamental football. They run the football. They try to limit mistakes as best as possible, okay? Even though LA has a lot of weapons in hand, you have your Odell Beckham Jr.'s, your Cooper Kupps, your Tyler Higbees, Cam Akers is officially back. I believe Sony Michel is still on the team. You have all those weapons in hand, all right? Knowing that Jimmy Garoppolo isn't the greatest quarterback in the world, I just still think that San Francisco is going to make a key play at the most important, crucial time of the game. And I just think San Fran is going to move on. As for Cincinnati versus Kansas City, I think this is a very important game, in my opinion, for Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow is now putting himself in elite category. Not extreme elite category, but he's putting himself in elite category. He's got his team in a full season. Got his team to the AFC Championship game, regardless if they didn't really play that great or not. He has put his team into position on being one win away from making the Super Bowl. I believe that him and Jamar Chase are going to have a big game against Kansas City. I think he's going to have to, target a lot of T. Higgins. All right, Tyler Boyd is on that team too. Joe Mixon, he's able to run the football for you guys too. But the only problem is with Joe Burrow is the fact that his offensive line is doo-doo. All right, it sucks. It's not that great whatsoever. And anybody's able to bulldoze, if they're able to bulldoze through that offensive line, Joe Burrow is grass at this point. He's toast. There's no way that he's going to be able to get through it. But I'm not doubting Patrick Mahomes. I'm not doubting Patrick Mahomes for as long as I live, or unless he does anything that makes me want to doubt him. But I think this is just Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes loses to Joe Burrow, that's a huge hit on Patrick Mahomes' legacy and Joe Burrow. But I think Patrick Mahomes gets it. I think we're going to see possibly a blow-up just because the offensive line really can't do anything for Joe Burrow. I think we most likely end up seeing, give or take, 31 to 16. All right, 31-16. And as for the 49ers and Rams game, I have it as I have 49ers winning a very small tight game, 17-14 49ers. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to First and Goal. I'm your host, Flavo Rihanna. Till then, guys, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. And please hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Really helps out the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace, guys, and have a good one. See ya.